Hello YouTube, Max is currently speaking for the Court of Consciousness system, and I want to talk today about something I have noticed with this world and with my upbringing and with Theistic Satanism. So, as I have mentioned multiple times before on various social medias, including this one, I was raised half Christian and half atheist. Both were wrong for me, and both taught me some interesting things. I was raised in the extremist forms of both. In childhood, I was raised evangelical Protestant Christian, and then deconverted from that to being anti-theist subtype of atheist. I remained anti-theist subtype of atheist and first started to question if maybe that was not right for me around 16, which was the first time that I lived with people since childhood that followed a different belief system. Around 20 is when I started to delve into witchcraft. I did not use any labels for my experiences until, or not openly, meaning I was not publicly out of the broom closet until New Year's of 2023. That is when I decided that I had had enough experience that I could narrow down my path and I could start using labels openly. It was on New Year's of 2023 when I declared myself a Theistic Satanist and did a wizard's initiation ceremony for myself, and decided to go down the left-hand path, not the life-hand path, the left-hand path under the guidance of the angel Azrael at the time, and then the angels Samael and Bezaliel and some of the Watchers who I became acquainted with, as well as the Solomonic and Goetic demons I met while going down the left-hand path. And what I was raised to believe, which I don't agree with this is just what I was raised to believe. When I was Christian, I was told that, or essentially taught as a child, that there's this guy who loves everyone, but if you don't do exactly what he says, then you'll be tortured forever, was Christianity. It was like, well, if you don't, it's like there's this wonderful, all-loving, all-encompassing father figure, but if you don't do what he says, then he hates you and will torture you. So it doesn't really make sense because there's inherent contradictions in that. And that was evangelical Christianity. And then when I was raised anti-theist, I was told, no, none of that stuff is real. All theism is bad, all gods are imaginary, all gods are evil and bad, and everyone who worships them is a threat to you, is what I was taught when I was anti-theist. So I was essentially went from being raised with one form of fascism to another form of fascism. And that is, in my opinion, both are forms of totalitarianism because both incentivized it's us versus them, and it's you versus other people, and everyone outside of you is bad, and everyone who doesn't agree with our belief system is an other and is to be rejected. And yeah, I started to question that around 15 to 16, because I started to read history around that. I started to read history books. I read books like Bartolomé de las Casas' journals, which is like the guy who was with Columbus during the colonization of the Americas, who was a monk who recorded the atrocities that Columbus and his men committed and the genocide that they committed, and he talked about it, and there's an English translation, but I can read an English translation. And then I also read People's History of the United States, and that's why I'm an anarchist. Anyways, so with being taught it's us versus them and whatever, and being raised in these two polar extremes, around 20 is when I started doing witchcraft, and I started practicing witchcraft because my sister, who was raised in the same environment as I, had been doing witchcraft in her late teens, or started doing witchcraft in her late teens, and she taught me and exposed me to the beginnings of the witchcrafts that I learned. So the first beginning, like first ever exposure in my 20, when I was like 20 to witchcraft, was through my sister, who was already practicing witchcraft since a few years before then, because she's a bit younger than me. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with witchcraft, and I delved headfirst, recklessly and without abandon, into the occult. I started summoning jinn, and I started learning about demons, and I started to be exposed to all sorts of things I had never known existed before. And then, by the time I had done my wizard's initiation ceremony, I had already had exposure to jinn, demons, angels, and these fucking mind-breakingly beautiful and amazing entities. And I knew on New Year's of 2023 that in order to get away from what I was raised under, and because I was raised half Christian, half atheist, I also had one of each for parents, but I don't really talk about that because I only have animosity and hatred towards one of my parents because only one of my parents tortured me, but it doesn't matter which one. Oh, I mean, it does matter, but I'm not going to tell you because you don't need to fucking know. But I've talked about it in other videos, I think. I have CPTSD and D.I.D for a reason. So with that totalitarian, narcissistic bullshit that I was raised under, not just in a familial level, but on a societal level and on a spiritual level, the way that I knew that I needed to get away from that was Theistic Satanism. And the reason that I knew that is if what I was raised under and the problems that I had with it was that, you know, Christians say they worship love while spreading hatred. The kinds of Christians I was raised by say they are all loving and good and whatever while spreading hatred towards queer people, black people, disabled people, many different groups of people. They say that they worship love, they say that they're spreading love, they say that they care while actively doing the opposite. In our world right now, the USA has a Christo-fascist government. So it's saying one thing and doing another thing. And doing the opposite, the exact opposite. And under anti-theism, it was the exact same thing, because I was also raised half anti-theist, and I saw they were doing the exact same thing. They were saying that they care about science and skepticism. They were saying that they care about the health and well-being of all these different groups of people while not actually listening to those groups of people. And what it was is, oh yeah, we'll care about your demographics so long as you know your place underneath us. So long as you submit to the patriarchy and to white science and to Eurocentric mindsets on science and to this very male-dominated worldview and this very white-dominated worldview, so long as you know your place underneath us, we'll support you, was anti-theism. And also it was, well, if you have any other belief systems, it doesn't matter if it's not Christianity, if you have any other belief systems outside of atheism, then we're just going to call you mentally ill, we're just going to say you're psychotic without actually caring or giving a shit about people who have suffered from that. And we're just going to alienate and ostracize and shame you and other you and bully you. So essentially doing the exact same fucking shit as the Christo-fascists, just dressed different. And when I realized that, I'm like, okay, this is the same fucking bullshit, just dressed different. And so for me, at first my exposure to Satanism was unfortunately atheistic Satanism. And at the time, I had read LaVey's Satanic Bible and the Satanic Rituals. And at the time when I read those, I liked them. When I read those books and actually saw what the book said, I could get behind it. But then I saw how the people who prescribe to atheistic Satanism, again, are oftentimes falling into this anti-theist fascism shit, where they are just anyone different than them is mentally ill, and they don't actually give a shit about mentally disabled people at all, and they're just using it as an excuse to bully and other and ostracize and dominate. And there's a very clear, I feel like, in the movement at least, even though it wasn't clear to me in the books, but apparently it's in there too, and I just went over my head. But in the movement of atheistic Satanism, there's a very clear might makes right mentality, apathy over empathy, claim to give a shit about minorities the same way the anti-theists do, but then not actually listen or uphold or defend those minorities when they're telling you that what you're saying is fucking bullshit and offensive and hurting them. And it's like, oh, I don't care because I have privileges over you and whatever. So I didn't fall for that either, and I delved deeper, and I'm like, okay, well, where are they getting all these occult symbols from and this other stuff? And I'm like, well, I know that angels and demons and this other shit, I have a very personal experience with these things. I know they're coming to me. I know that I do believe in them. I don't personally believe in God, but I do believe in gods, plural, and I think gods, plural, can be anthropomorphized as demons, as jinn, as angels, as these different things. And although I don't believe in a singular god, I do believe in the angels, as I think it is another lens for the gods. And I don't think that there needs to be a creator for there to be all these different beings. I've had experiences with these beings, and all of them tell me different things. They have just as many different opinions on spirituality as humans do, it seems. They tell me just as many varied stories and varied ideas as it seems humans hold. So what I'm finding is that they're essentially no one really fucking knows. I don't even think they really really know how shit works. I think it's like this infinite hierarchy that's just going around, like there's layers and layers and layers, and it just goes on infinitely, is how I think. But for me, theistic Satanism, why I chose to venerate Satan and also integrate my own Satan form with me, and delve specifically into the chthonic, the death, and the underworld gods and the demons of different things, is because, as far as I can tell, in a world that is backwards, in a world that teaches you that love is hate, that love is abuse, that tells you all this different bullshit, in a world that is so completely apathetic and unempathetic and insane that it thinks it's okay to just treat children however the fuck they want to, where it tells you one thing and then does the opposite, where no one is authentic anymore, no one is empathetic anymore, what I found is, I feel like the only way to really make sense of a world like that is to follow the exact opposite of what it tells you. So I was told that don't ever worship Satans, don't ever go to Satans, or don't ever involve yourself with demons, they're just bad and whatever, when I was Christian. And then when I was atheist, I was taught those people don't exist. And if you believe in them, then you're just delusional and psychotic and bad and crazy. And it's like, okay, both of those aren't fucking solutions to anything. And what I realized is both the Christians and atheists I was raised around weren't fucking doing anything. They were just torturing their own spouses, their kids, their coworkers, their whoever, practicing this fucking narcissism and just dissociating from everything going on around them. And I don't mean that, like, I have fucking dissociative identity disorder. I also dissociate. Like, I can't fucking help it. It's a chronic disability that I have from abuse. But what I mean is like, they don't actually give a shit about anything. They don't actually fucking care, because they've been so broken down by all the bullshit of the world that they just don't care about anything anymore, and are going to take whatever they can and leave everything else to die and decay and destruction. And so what I found is, in following the opposite of that, since that's the world we live in right now, in my opinion, is we live in a world that already worships hatred, pretending to be love, already worships apathy, pretending to be empathy, already pretends that science is God while not even caring that a lot of scientists are deeply spiritual and are like religious or have different belief systems, in a world that believes that all this different fucking contradictory bullshit. And so what I found is, like, in just actually talking to Satan myself and actually delving into this shit, facing my own shadows, facing my own hell, integrating these different husks within myself, integrating both the painful and the beautiful, finding the beauty in death, finding the hope, finding the glory in death, finding the love in death. Satan to me is the love in death. That's what I worship. I worship the love of death. I worship the love, the hope, the light in death. And Samael is not evil. Samael is not what they think or what they say. Samael and Lilith, they are not who they think they are. And they're fucking defenders. They're actually doing shit. They've actually helped me. And following them has radically improved my life. Following theistic Satanism for me improved my life in a few years. In the course of like a few years, my life has radically and drastically improved more than doctors could do in 10. More than doctors could do in fucking 10 years of putting me on all these different medications, of listening to all these different fucking people tell me all this different fucking bullshit. Meanwhile, none of it worked. None of it helped, because the actual problem is fascism. The actual problem is white supremacy and all these broken fucking bullshit systems over everyone. And what has helped me actually survive and cope with those systems? Finding my own faith, finding something that's actually going to help me to survive it. And the thing that's helping me mentally survive it is theistic Satanism. Because Satan to me is resistance, is the fury, the passion, the revolutionary, the love of Mars and the energy of Mars. And that's what Samael embodies. Samael is literally the angel of Mars. And people don't understand this, and they don't understand that, like, King Alamar is the Jinn version of the ruler of Mars, and then King Belial is sort of the ruler of Earth and Mars, and all these different chthonic and demonic beings, to me, are the true gods, because they are the gods we have forsaken and disgraced and abandoned and betrayed in our pursuit of apathy and human arrogance and human progress over human lives. And the people who are actually going to give a shit about the lives of humans like me is the demons, because they're actually doing something about it. They're actually fighting this bullshit. And that's what the actual spiritual war is, because they want you to think that it's like you versus everyone else and whatever. But actually, the demons are the ones who are giving a shit about the outcasts, who are taking in, who are adopting, and who are helping people like me who were abandoned and betrayed and outcast by humanity. So when I get these fucking Christians in my comments like, oh, Satan's gonna fucking kill you and you're gonna be tortured and whatever, you don't understand. I already was by fucking humans. I was already tortured for the first 22 years of my life, and I fell into cults and spiritual psychosis and other bullshit after that I had to get out of. I was already in hell. I've already fucking been living in hell my whole fucking life. I have never lived in a world where I was safe. I have never known or inhabited or tasted of a world where I was allowed to just exist. So if you're gonna tell me that, whatever demon's gonna do whatever, you don't understand that humans have already done it. There is nothing any of the demons in hell can fucking do to me that humans haven't already done to me. There is nothing Satan can do to me that you fuckers haven't already done. I have D.I.D. I have dissociative identity disorder. You don't fucking know me. But who's actually going to be the ones who are protecting me, who are defending me, who have shown me in a few years something that's helped me more than all those doctors and other fuckers did with over 10? That's Satan to me. Satan is a fucking defender and protector, and he is the one who's fighting all this bullshit. And that's the thing, is that it's all fucking backwards. Everything you've been taught is a lie. Everything they're telling you is a fucking lie. If you find for yourself, if you actually authentically, genuinely, with an open heart, figure out what these fucking demons and shit actually are, they're the gods. They're the old gods. They are the ones who are going to protect and defend the truly outcast of this world. They are the ones who are actually going to give a shit about me as a transgender D.I.D. system with autism. They are the ones who are actually defending people like me. You assholes aren't. And your hatred is not love. And I see through your fucking bullshit. And I see through the fucking bullshit of the Christians and the atheists, because I was you. I was you. I already did that shit. I already tried it. It didn't fucking work. It didn't fucking fulfill me. And you know what? If I am going to hell for what I believe, I would so vastly prefer to go to hell and to go to the underworld and to be with these beautiful fucking beings than to fucking have to live with this human bullshit where they pretend that hatred is love, and they pretend that this fucking USA country is just everything's fine and everything's all right, and you just have to conform, and if you conform, everything will be good. And it's like, well, what happens if you don't? So just fuck them if they don't. Just fuck everyone and kill everyone who disagrees. That's the fucking country I live in. And if you think that's normal, you're lying to yourself. You are lying to yourself. And what's going to happen when they turn it on you? Because once they're done with us, once they're done, with all these fucking people and like these fucking fascists, really, because that's what it is. All these fucking people like turning on people like me, torturing the kid I was, and like harming and subjugating whatever the kid that I was for being disabled, for being queer. What's going to happen when they start turning on you? Are you still going to be like, oh, whatever, like, it's like their problem, it's not my problem? Well, it's going to be your problem, and it is your problem, because the moment that they stop, they're going to be fucking turning on everyone. They just want us all to be at each other's throats like wolves. And Samael taught me how to fucking defend myself. Samael, Belial, Bezaliel, Azazel, all of these fuckers, they're amazing, and they're beautiful, and they're wonderful, and they're real. They're fucking real, and they taught me shit, how to defend myself, how to take care of myself, how to heal myself. And through their aid, I've been able to heal myself in ways that no one else fucking could. They taught me how to heal and protect myself from this fascist, narcissistic bullshit world. So I love them, and I follow them, and yes, I am a theistic Satanist, and if you can't understand that, then I don't know what to do, because, like, it's pretty fucking straightforward, and that's about as straightforward as I can make it.